Boom, crash, pow. Dad's working them over down there in that draw. That thing looks hung up, but I've got it bucked, cut off the top. It's just kind of there. So for my safety, I'm going to wait till I get the skid steer and or skidder here before I wrestle with that top too much. Not the biggest trees, but these here aren't terrible. Now this here, I want to cut just this side over here because it's got that big dead limb on it, and it's a little better piece. So what we're going to do, we're going to come right down the middle there, and we're going to leave this piece here stand, and we're going to take this piece, and hopefully this little thing here will keep growing. Now, it may bring up questions like, well, that'll never be that good of a tree. No, it will never be a high-grade tree, but what might happen, mind you, is it might put on a lot of growth and just become a big old ugly pasture tree. And anymore, those big old ugly pasture trees are pretty good property. That tabletop market has blown up in the last couple of years. And trees like that, we used to just overlook them, leave them there. They weren't worth cutting. I remember those days. Well then, 4 or 5 years ago when this tabletop market come up, those trees started becoming popular. And it's not, I use quotations because they're called the tabletop log. Now, not all those logs will be sawn into tabletops. I don't know what they'll do with all of them. Honestly, as long as they pay good money for them, they can have high firewood. Oh, there's Brandon texting me. So we'll take this piece here down, get it on the ground, and we're going to leave this guy here grow. I really enjoy cutting these doubles, just because each one of them represents a different challenge on how to bring them down. This one here was pretty easy. Good flush cut here. This will scar over. You can see here, it's a little bad in there. Something coming up from beneath, but hopefully that'll heal itself over. And that'll turn out to be something good one of these days. Leaves a little bit of shade here for the cattle and still produce some walnuts for the squirrels. And we'll take this old ugly piece down. This old ugly piece is probably, I don't know if that's just a growth, something into it. I don't think it's lightning. I don't see any lightning scar on the tree anywhere. It's got some pretty figure right here though. Yeah, these doubles, I think they're fun to cut because in the last couple of years, I've got to where I just absolutely, I'll run to them before I will the big trees almost, just because they're a challenge, and whether I'm trying to bring them both down at the same time, or if I'm trying to bring them down one at a time, or to bring one down and leave the other, or placement of the fall, they're just, to me, they're a lot of fun to cut. It makes the day go by a lot faster when you really have fun with cutting trees and really enjoy it. So these I try to make a little game out of, or a little contest, just to test my skill and keep me sharp. Cutting close to the ground, you always get into dirt and debris, so you constantly got to touch up your saw. Sometimes some areas more than others. Seems like up here these trees are a little dirtier up here than what we've been cutting, oddly enough, on this top of this hill. I don't know if there's just enough sediment up here in the bark to keep me dulled up, but it's dulled up this full chisel pretty good, so we're going to touch up before we cut anything else. Now, people frequently ask if we sharpen our own chains, and I think any logger that cuts a good amount of timber probably does sharpen their own chains. I know for us, we have to. For one, I'm too tight to have somebody else do it. And for two, just like this, a lot of times you need to touch up on the go, and you better know how to sharpen your chain. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't always that good at sharpening chains. And compared to a lot of people, I probably still ain't that good at sharpening chains. But I can put the edge back on my chains, and they cut straight, and that's good enough for me. I know a lot of guys that will take brand new chains and start working them over from there. That's cool, it is. You can get them that much sharper. But I don't have the time to do that. I hardly have the time to do a lot of the projects I got going on now. And in the grand scheme of things, our saw chains is one of our less expenses, or cheaper expenses, I guess you could say. So I don't even grind the drags down once the teeth get so bad. I just get what life I can get out of the chain itself, and then I just go to the next one. So like I said, I just don't have the time to put into a lot of work on these chains. And I think the key to a sharp chain is kind of like a sharp knife. A guy told me one time back when I used to trap a lot about skin and fur. He said the key to a sharp knife is to never let it get dull. And I think that's kind of the same with a saw chain. When you start to get a little dull, just touch it up a little bit. Don't get out there and try to grind things in two. Just take a little time, just like this, and touch it up. And you know when it's starting to get dull. You can tell, definitely tell when things are starting to lose its edge. Honestly, when I went through my certification classes in the state of Missouri with the Missouri Forest Products Association, I had to take the game of logging cutting classes to get certified. and a gentleman by the name of Joe Glenn, which I'm sure a lot of you guys in the logging world probably know Joe. Joe was, at the time, he was going to transition out of the classes, and Shannon Jarvis, a good friend of mine, it was actually his first time teaching the class. He was Missouri's first master logger. And Joe was still there to kind of help Shannon out with it. And Joe is just a mountain of knowledge when it comes to cutting timber, logging, he really is. He's a mountain of knowledge. And Joe probably got tired of me asking him questions about things. And I still see Joe at our meetings with the MFPA and the Missouri Logging Council. So I'm both heavily involved in both. I'm on the Education and Technical Committee with the Missouri Forest Products Association. And I'm on the Board of Directors for the Missouri Logging Council. And it's a great group of guys, it really is. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a great way to be a voice for the logging community, which I thoroughly enjoy anyway. So I still see Joe when we're able to do things. Of course, this last year, about all of our meetings have been canceled. And, Joe, he'll sometimes give me a hard time about how we bore cut timber. But we just kind of laugh about it. But he really is. He's a great guy and a mountain of knowledge. That's it. We're ready to tighten back up. We'll go back to cutting. We wanted to put that tree right here in this little hole. Top got into this little thing here, but it ain't no good anyway. It's no big loss, but right there we wanted it. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.